And amid reports of the so-called fake vinegar being sold in the market, some Filipinos are worried about the food they eat. How important is vinegar in the Filipino cuisine? And to tell us more about this, we are joined this morning by Chef Jean Gonzalez of Cafe Isabel. Good morning, Chef, and welcome back to New Day.
Good morning, Doc.
Welcome back, Suking.
Welcome back.
I know. Now, Chef, a lot of people, a lot of Filipinos for that matter, love adobo. And of course, one of the mainstay ingredients for adobo is vinegar. Could you tell us, why is vinegar so important in the diet of Filipinos?
Vinegar has been very important since time immemorial because it's a preservative method. It's also been ingrained in our local taste. So even in fiestas where you have huge quantities and there's very little refrigeration done long time ago, vinegar was an added ingredient so that it would preserve food and prevent it from spoiling. Vinegar also has certain natural vinegar would have certain probiotic benefits for our diet.
All right, talk to us, Chef, about the process that's involved in making vinegar. You say here in the Philippines, there's at least two different methods.
There are two main methods in the Philippines, which is a standalone, which is basically the use of containers like jars, big jars, clay jars, or even plastic drums that are used to ferment. It's a standalone method, and normally you get something for 30 days. There's also the accelerated method, which is partly German technology. They have what they call a Frings acetator, and this one does the vinegar in 24 hours. It's given nutrients, it's aerated, it's stirred around, and in 24 hours you have vinegar.
So it just hastens the process of the vinegar happening. So I guess you mentioned how important this is for the diets of Filipinos. I guess it's even a bigger shock that people heard in the news that there is a synthetic form of vinegar or it is fake, quote unquote. So how safe do you think is vinegar nowadays?
Well, if we talk about vinegar made by big companies, and these are either supplemented or they're augmented by glacial acetic acid, it would be pretty safe because it would have to undergo the process of science. The problem is when you have vinegars done by small scale makers, then this would be uncontrollable. The thing is, you'd never get the complexity of flavor. You really don't get the beneficial effects of a natural vinegar.
But someone, Chef, who is in the market looking at vinegar now, amidst these news, would you recommend people still patronizing their usual brands for vinegars? Would you say that it is still safe to consume?
I would say quite safe. Quite safe. There would be, because this undergoes a process of measurement and science. Yeah, it would be quite safe.
So okay pa rin. I was asking Doc and Rhea earlier, so like you know, for Filipinos, nabanggit ni Doc yung adobo, may mga kilawin din, ang daming kumbaga paksiw. Ako mahilig ako dun sa yung chicharon, yung suka. So okay lang na mag-vinegar pa rin ngayon.
I think it's pretty okay. It's pretty safe for as long as you have a good company backing the vinegar up and made by them.
It didn't alarm me as a chef, personally. Just among us.
Did not really alarm me, though. We use some of these vinegars for our regular staff meals or what. I would use fancy vinegars or artisanal vinegars like those made in Ilocos or those made out of cocoa nectar. I personally would push this because it helps the small-scale maker. What could be dangerous is, in order to compete in price, some small-scale makers might be even augmenting their product, which is quite different. It's dangerous or what?
Yeah, from a health perspective, Chef, how important is vinegar or suka in the Filipino diet?
Oh, it's very important because, it's part of Filipino taste. the essence of cooking, or the backbone of cooking, mainly of a lot like adobo, paksiw, kilawin, kinilaw. These are all vinegar based.
And lahat yun masarap with vinegar.
Quite good, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Now, what about this other method of cooking called the sangkutsa?
Sangkutsa is basically, in the old days, there was no refrigeration, so huge blocks of meat were stir fried with vinegar to prevent the multiplication of bacteria that would lead to food poisoning. And yeah, it works. You get a piece of sancochado meat, you put it and make a menudo, or you make a caldereta, and that it used to be the process.
Well,
Okay, let's bring out the food that you brought. From...
well, thank you very much for that. Thank you very much, Chef Jean Gonzalez, for sharing your insights on all of this and amidst this controversy with regards to our vinegar.